The Glycerin 22 is built to unlock that run forever feeling, optimized for soft landings and powerful toe-offs at every point of every step. How? 2 types of nitrogen-infused cushioning seamlessly tuned into one experience. Softness has never been this powerful. Let's run there. Learn more at brooksrunning.com.
Are negative Google reviews hurting your business? Don't let unfair feedback cost you customers. At Webamax, we specialize in removing false, misleading, and damaging reviews so your online reputation stays strong. Our expert team works quickly and legally to clean up your digital presence, helping you rebuild trust. Visit us on the web at www.gowebamax.com. That's GOWEBIMAX.com, or text us for a free quote at 856-840-8343. Don't let bad reviews define you. Get immediate help from Webamax.
Welcome back to the Skating Penguin Network, everyone. It is Robbie here again with Snail on the other end of the mic. It is a post-game recap coming your way this evening, February 4th. The Penguins just wrapped up a game at home against the New Jersey Devils, and as it has been the case for the past 2.5 years now, the Penguins just cannot find a way past the Devils in a hockey game. They've beaten them once since October of 2022. They come close this evening. They trail twice, battle back twice, get the game to overtime. A frantic overtime period ends in no goals, and then a 7-round shootout goes to the visiting Devils on a Timo Meier goal. But the Penguins just, something about the Devils right now, cannot find their way into 2 points against them, it seems. And it was the case tonight. But Snail, a lot of these Devil games have been one-sided. Tonight, the Penguins, they came to play tonight. They battled back. They were down. They were actually down 2-0, sorry. And usually a multi-goal deficit against the Devils can be a bad sign. But the Penguins stick in there, keep with it. Alex Nedeljkovic, another start, but another strong showing out of him. And the Penguins do get a point, but they just cannot seem to get this monkey off their back with the Devils.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what you can attribute it to, because they've had 2 different coaches over that stretch. The Devils have, the Penguins have been gradually kind of getting worse and worse too, and the Devils getting, younger. They got young, and they bottomed out, and they've got their young studs pushing through into their prime. So might just be attributed to that, the timing of where the organizations are at. Because it seems that there's a few teams that the Penguins just cannot seem to beat. I always think of the Devils, and I think of the Carolina Hurricanes, who, I don't know, it's just no matter how good of a game the Penguins seem to have, these teams just always walk away with 2 points. And I have to be honest with you, Robbie, when I saw the game was going to a shootout, I watched the shootout, but I didn't need to, because the Penguins cannot win in the shootout either. We'll get to that later on.
Yeah.
But the Devils have had their number. I thought the Devils didn't even necessarily have their best game. There have been games that the Penguins have played against them I think they played them probably around the holidays this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the Devils were they were on, they were just all firing on all cylinders. You could see that youth and that speed. And they've also got some tough bastards that can hit. They've got Dylan, they've got McDermott, who was a scratch tonight. Yeah, so they didn't even have what I thought was one of their A games. It was the Penguins' opportunity. But, right now, dude, the Penguins have one line. I mean, they have one line, and I would say they have their first line, and then they have Hayes and Bunting, right now, as far as guys who you can kind of count on to maybe not always score, but provide offense and really make something happen. And it's just not enough against a team. It's not enough against a team like the Devils. So anyways, yeah, those are kind of my initial thoughts on the game. But it was disappointing. Ned gets the start again. I don't know. I don't know if Blomqvist is ever going to get a start at this point. I thought Ned played great, though. Yeah, I'll toss it back over to you, and we can go over the scoring and whatnot. But a pretty entertaining game. I thought that before we get into the scoring, actually, what did you think about the no goal call on Raquel?
I thought it was pretty clearly a kick, in my opinion. Yeah, nothing. I didn't have much argument with it. I've seen a lot less be waved off, so it didn't really surprise me that it was going to be a no goal call. I didn't see much argument again, even from the folks online or anything like that. So I can't say I'm too butthurt about that one.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily butthurt about it, but I thought the rule is a distinct kicking motion, and in the definition, I thought that was kicking the puck. Like if it was in your feet, like say the puck was in your feet and you just kick it towards the goal and it went in, that wouldn't count.
No, that counts. Yep.
But then Raquel.
Never mind. Yeah.
But then Raquel, he was trying to kick his. You can see puts his stick down. He's battling for position and gets his stick down, and he angles. He doesn't even kick. I thought he just kind of, he does what all hockey players are taught to do.
Yeah.
He kicks his foot out to kind of like soccer style it to his stick. I thought that should have counted, and I thought that it was ridiculous that they called it off right away. I thought there would at least be a little bit more. I thought they'd call it a goal and then review it and then fuss over it. But anyways, anytime, like, dude, in like beer league hockey or something, like no one's ever passing it tape to tape.
Yeah.
It's always going in. And so that move happens a million times a game because, and I don't know, I'll get off my soapbox, but I thought, whatever. Yeah. It's neither here nor there. Let's get to the scoring.
Yeah, so the scoring kind of started off like a Penguins jersey game. It was pretty tight for a while. But at the end of the first period with 17 seconds left, Jack Hughes gets his 22nd of the year from Jesper Bratt and Andre Palat. It's 1-0, and just a defensive breakdown at the end of the first period, something the Penguins have been really good at. Committing bad mistakes and kind of going dead-brained at the worst possible times. And Jack Hughes capitalizes. It's 1-0 after a period. Second period, again, Jack Hughes kills the Penguins again. His 23rd of the year, second of the game. Bratt is the only assist on this one. And it's 2-0. And as I said, when you're down 2-0 to the Devils, it can be a very hard fight back. But the Penguins, they're definitely been feeling themselves a little bit more since coming home and getting some wins. They do not give up. Rickard Rakell, newest member of Team Sweden, gets his 24th of the season. Crosby and Carlson on the assist here at 14:56. Gets them some momentum, gets some life in the building. It's 2-1 after 2. And then the Penguins just kind of keep pressing. And Kevin Hayes, who has been excellent since returning to the lineup, why he was healthy scratched, I do not know. But we're not asking those questions right now. Not going to worry too much about it. Kevin Hayes with his 9th of the year. It's P.O. Joseph and Anthony Beauvillier with the assist here. And that is how the score remains the rest of the way. There are some decent chances both ways after Hayes tied the game. But both goalies were up to the task. And they get the game to overtime. A barn-burning overtime period. Back and forth, some good chances both ways. Nedeljkovic made a ridiculous save near the end. Some chances were missed. It's 2-2 after overtime, so we go to the shootout. Raquel scores on the first shot, but then Paul Cotter answers right back. Crosby, Hughes, Rust, and Bratt all missed, so we're going to overtime in the shootout. The four-shooter for the Penguins, Anthony Beauvillier, buries a goal past Nicholas Dawes on a nasty little deke move. The Penguins are in position to win the game here, but Dougie Hamilton keeps the Devils alive as the Devils' fourth shooter. And then Hayes, Tomas Tatar, Letang, Luke Hughes, the younger Hughes, Cody Glass, all miss. Glass being the Penguins' 7th shooter. And then Timo Meier, the Devils' 7th shooter, gets one past Nedeljkovic to get the win and send the Devils home with 2 points. The Penguins they got some goals in this shootout. It just and Dodovich made some big saves, but he just could not make a save after that Beauvillier goal on Dougie Hamilton that would have given the Pens the win at shooter number 4. But the Penguins still get a point out of this hockey game. The way the Devils have had their Penguins number, this is kind of the result you expect. They just have to bounce back. They get 2 days off now before heading on the road before the Four Nations starts. But I think the big picture tonight, you didn't get the 2 points, but you showed some life against a team that has really drug you through the mud the past few years. We saw that against Edmonton a few weeks back. The Penguins did win that game, but a team that had been bullying them around, the Penguins respond, get a win out of that one. Don't get a win here, but still a nice response, a nice way to send off the home fans for a couple weeks now. But I mean, Raquel is just doing what he's done all year. Well-earned Four Nations spot. Really happy for him. He's going to make a count, I think. Going to be fun to watch him. Crosby gets a point. But like you said, Snell, outside of that first line of Rust, Crosby, and Raquel, there's just nothing else consistent right now throughout the lineup. Boko Amama, he's there for one reason. He's not going to be there once everybody's healthy. Lizotte is just anchored by Achari, and it's just killing him. Mm-hmm. Defensively, Carlson was all over the place tonight. It was like a scatter shot night for him. Tomasino was a +1. He wasn't terrible tonight, but there's just some stuff missing. Beauvillier, I thought, had a pretty good game. I thought Beauvillier made himself pretty noticeable. I do think that we will see Anthony Beauvillier in a different uniform by March 7th. I think there's a couple guys still out there that are going to be gone. But, I mean, yeah, Hayes has been fantastic since he returned to the lineup. But outside of Crosby, Russ, Raquel, Hayes, and Bunting, and I'll throw Tomasino in there too because I think he's been one of their better players this year. It just doesn't seem like we get any kind of consistent performance out of a lot of these guys. And I understand that it's hard and it's not always you're not set up for success necessarily like a guy like Lizotte, but it gets frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, it does, because I think that even with the lack of consistency, the way that Sullivan's system is they every shift they work their buns off, dude. Like it kills me to watch some of these guys just try to spend so much time down low. They're on the perimeter a lot. They're just eating pucks along the boards, trying to find something, make something happen, and then they cough it up and they go the other way and they're all exhausted and it just shifts change, and it's a draining. Sometimes these games look so draining for some of these lines that have no identity really, and they don't have any like particular, with Malkin out of the lineup, it's really noticeable because they don't have somebody that can kind of be a mover and a shaker on each line. Ned puzzles me a lot. I love Ned, and I don't want to critique him in his game really, because I think he's been playing quite well since Jari's been sent down. But it just seems that like sometimes he makes these immaculate saves. Like he makes like that save on Jack Hughes at the right before the buzzer in overtime. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing save.
Yeah.
Jari would have let that in before it even left his stick somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. It appears Snail has dropped, so I'm just going to keep talking here. And Snell's back, so I'll let him continue.
Is it back? It is? Okay. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I just all of a sudden kicked me off. But I don't understand how – I was just saying – I was praising Ned, kind of just curious. Sometimes he makes these amazing saves. Dougie Hamilton scores on just a regular old wrist shot that goes 5-hole. But then he makes an immaculate save on Thomas Tatar. which like it just like that save on Tatar where he gets a toe on it. It's I don't know. Sometimes I'm left scratching my head in bewilderment with this guy, but hey, I thought he was a warrior and stood in there. Okay, now it's back on. Anyways, Robbie, I don't know if that was recording.
I'm recording.
Because it just now said on my screen that it's unpaused.
You might be running slow, but we're definitely rolling.
Okay, never mind. You got some editing to do. Anyways, yeah, but he's a battler, and he's not going to stop everything, but whatever.
Yeah, he's going to give you 100% every night that he's out there. He basically pulled a corpse of a team within a point of a playoff spot last year. And so that was pretty remarkable. And again, this year he's kind of thrown into the number one role after Jari is waived. So the dude's just out there fighting. Again, if maybe he plays well enough that a team makes a call on him come trade deadline time. But yeah, I mean, he's going to get a start this weekend again. One of these two back-to-backers. We'll finally see Blomqvist again, I'm assuming. But the dude just battles, and it's not always pretty, and it doesn't always result in a win. But you're getting your best effort every night, even if you don't get his best game. And I feel like that alone is an upgrade from Jari, because sometimes it's nice that we're not talking. I don't remember the last time I talked about a first shot going in.
Oh my God. I was about
first shot resulting in a goal. It's been a long time since I've had to say that to open a recap, and that alone has been refreshing, more so than just about anything else. I don't feel an existential dread with Nedeljkovic in there every time a shot is thrown toward the net.
Yes, I will obviously I almost don't want to even speak that juju back into in the life or whatever. But
yeah.
I wanted to touch on a couple more things before I got disconnected there. A couple of things you said. You said Boko Imama is probably out of the lineup when people are healthy. You need to keep him in this lineup. I think
he's taking six shifts a night with 5 minutes tonight. He's done. He's done when Malkin's back healthy.
You need a guy like that. The Penguins
he's 5 minutes. He's taking up a roster spot.
Achari. I take him over Achari. I think that they said it on the broadcast tonight, and I love when they speak my mind for me. And it was put very simply: is when Boko Imama is out there, people are looking over their shoulder. They're waiting for the contact. Boko is looking for contact. I think you need to keep a guy like that in the lineup who keeps other players on their toes. It's been too long since the Penguins have had somebody that can do that. And yeah, is he going to put the puck in the net, which the Penguins actually really need, especially on a night like tonight? Of course. But when Malkin gets back, I don't even know. When Malkin has not been having the greatest season either. I don't even necessarily know the puck's going in the net anymore when he gets back in the lineup, but that sure gives them a little bit of a better chance. You know what I say? I say put Boko Imama up on Sid's line.
Oh boy, you can't break up the one line that's actually doing something with Rust and Raquel.
Make space out there for Sid.
You need, you definitely, unless you put him in front of the net and just hope a shot hits him.
He's Tom Sestito. He's Tom Sestito right now, and I don't know
Tom Sestito's. Yeah, his brief stint with the Penguins back in, I don't even remember what year that was.
Tom Sestito's name is on the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that is true. I don't remember if it was 16 or 17, but it is on the Stanley Cup. That was, man, that just feels like so long ago now.
It was.
Yeah, I know it was, but like it shouldn't feel as long as it just shouldn't feel like that long ago. It just tells you how crazy everything's been in that interim. But Tom Sestito
had an assist. He had a goal in the Stanley Cup playoffs in 16-17.
Okay.
Our boy Tom Sestito.
Wow. Yeah.
Boko Imama could fill those huge shoes that he's left for, almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The other thing quickly I wanted to get to before we start moving on here is, dude, I think you should re-sign Kevin Hayes.
I think he has a year left, doesn't he?
I thought he was UFA, but
I'm pretty sure he has at least 1 year left.
I also am, dude, I'm screwed up with dates right now. Like I looked at something in the freezer that had a sell by date and it said December 2025 and I threw it out because I was
Yeah,
like, oh, this is
yeah.
2 months. Does he?
No, I'm talking about you're definitely throwing out good.
I threw out food that was good because I was like, oh yeah, it's 2025. We just had December. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
all over.
Kevin Hayes is under contract next season yet.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah. I thought so. I thought when he was traded over, I remember them saying he has 2 years left on his contract.
Oh,
He does. He has another year on his contract, and he's a
I don't know
UFA
what
in 2026.
I don't know what year it is. So,
That's true.
but yeah, that's great. Because I was thinking like, dude, Kevin Hayes can play up and down the lineup. He can be your third. He can be a fourth line winger if you're stacked, which the Penguins are not. He could be your third. He's a great third line center on an offensive third line that forechecks. He could. I was waiting to see him up on Malkin's wing maybe once or twice this year, but it didn't happen. And when Sid went out with that little hand injury that everyone kind of shat their pants about for a second, I was like, wow, Kevin Hayes is first line center for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Didn't have that on my bingo card. But okay, we don't have to re-sign him. And
No.
I'll take one more year, Kevin Hayes, for sure. I think he's great for that room. Did you see his celebration on that goal?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the players love him. I think he's been a great locker room guy wherever he's gone. And yeah, I think that he would be a great guy to keep for another year, unless somebody calls and blows you away with something. They're just desperate. But I think Hayes is definitely a guy that is great for the locker room, great for those young guys that are going to be coming up here at the end of the season and into next season. And again, he's still playing good hockey. It's not that he's a over the hill Jeff Carter, where it's just can be absolutely brutal to watch most nights. Kevin Hayes still has juice left in the tank and can still produce at a good depth level, something the Penguins don't have, and something a lot of teams don't have as well. He's definitely, I think, a valuable depth piece. So I'm more than happy to have Hayes on this team for another season because I think he's still a good hockey player.
Absolutely. I'm glad you agree. I love the guy. I've got a soft spot in my heart for Kevin Hayes. I was a little iffy about the deal at first where it just seemed like we were going backwards. They were talking about youth, and then they pick up Kevin Hayes for basically nothing from St. Louis. Didn't know how much he had left in the tank. I kind of compared it to like when the Penguins got Brian Boyle. I know I've said that on here before. When they picked up Brian Boyle for that 1 year, you know, he scored a couple of goals, leadership.
Yeah, Brian Boyle was good during that year in Pittsburgh.
He actually was. He was actually, I believe he was. They made the playoffs that year with him. So I kind of like Kevin Hayes as like a Brian Boyle, but we get him for 2 years. That's kind of how I see it. Both Boston guys too. It's kind of funny coincidence, and they wore number 13, I think. So a couple coincidences there. But anyways, yeah, glad to see Kevin Hayes score. I think that Boko Amama should stay in the lineup even after Malkin gets back. I don't know. That's all I really got on what we were just recently talking about. But disappointing loss by the Penguins, I would say, because it went to shoot. Robbie, do you think they should get rid of the shootout?
I'm in favor of going to 10-minute overtimes, 3-on-3 overtimes. Again, the shootout has kind of naturally it has lessened just from the natural progression of the game. But now teams they've almost become too used to 3-on-3 overtime that coaches, I mean, you give an NHL coach long enough, they're going to adapt to everything. It's going to happen. It's just the nature of the sport. Goaltenders are better now to shoot out than they ever have been. They used to be a goal bonanza. Guys were shooting well over 50% in the shootout. Those numbers are no longer. Coaches were always going to adapt to a 3-on-3 game. At this point, it almost takes a major blunder in a 3-on-3 overtime to get it feels like to get a goal. You need a guy falling. You need one of those shots that rips around the boards, and you have a 2-on-1 the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Just a completely inexcusable bad change. You just need something to kind of go wrong. It doesn't feel like even if you cycle the puck, unless you make a very crafty pass, it just does not feel like you're going to get a goal from a set play. It's going to take some kind of major mistake or a blown
It's like
tire.
street ball out there all of a sudden. It's man on man, like
it's just very cagey. It's much different than when it was first instituted, and you can't really go to 2-on-2. That's not really.
That's ridiculous.
That's getting a little absurd. You might as well just go right to a shootout then. Make it a 10-minute overtime. And just that way it forces guys into maybe pushing a little bit harder. I like the shootout when it first started, and I think coming out of the lockout, it was fantastic because you needed to get fan interest back. And I grew up on ECHL hockey that had a shootout literally as long as I can remember.
Right.
I do not remember ties at the.
That was the funnest part. It was
great. Like, we hoped games would go to a shootout because it was excellent. It was best of 5. That felt like the exciting part. But in the NHL now, like, goalies are so good, players are so good. Again, maybe it's because my team's not great at shootouts. But I think at some point, make it 10 minutes, push guys. I don't know. I don't know what other incentive you have. I'm not a huge fan of ties. It feels communist almost to be a tie. But yeah, shootouts, I think, okay, it helped with fan interest coming out of the lockout. But now, I don't know. I've seen more people hate it now than I ever have. And I think they got to try to workshop something to make it to end games before they get there.
It's perfectly brown, it's melty, it's sweet. It's the s'more you just cooked over the fire at AutoCamp. That's right, Hilton brings you new ways to stay, where you don't just get nightly s'mores. You also get clubhouse happy hours to gather under the stars. All while staying in custom-designed Airstreams, cabins, and tents, and insanely cool outdoor destinations. If AutoCamp sounds like a dream, it sounds like it's time to redeem those Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Sergeant and Mr. Smith, you're gonna love this house.
Bunk beds in a closet?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
I like that. Yeah, I think you're right. It's done its job in the game because shootouts, when they came into the NHL, like after that lockout, that was so exciting. Like, it was like, oh man, like, and there was some great shootout.
There's great mixes on YouTube of shootout goals. I don't know if anybody knows the name Merrick Malik.
Yes,
but this is back. It might have been the first year of the shootout. He did not score. He did not score. He was not a goal scorer, and has one of the most absurd shootout goals ever. He goes between the legs against. It might have been Kolzig. I can't remember.
First between the leg highlight reel goals.
Yeah,
I can ever remember.
And like, the announcers are completely losing their minds. There's the Crosby one against Montreal, like his first game against.
Yeah.
Such
a good shootout goal.
His first game against Montreal as a rookie. The Penguins goalie that game was Jocelyn Thibault, and I'm pretty sure it was against Jose Theodore.
It was.
And he just goes roof, water bottle pops. The building, again, the Penguins were not good this year, but the building absolutely freaking erupts because like, this is like this kid's real deal.
Isn't that the one where it's like welcome to the Crosby Show, Canada?
Yes. The Canadian, whoever the Canadian announcers were for that one, but then there's a Pittsburgh calling it too, and whoever, I think it's Bob Airy, lets out like this. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible if you can find that call. But the building just explodes. It's just a bad Penguins team, a regular season shootout. And again, back then everybody loved the shootout. It was so cool. It was so new. The NHL never had this. And Crosby goes top shelf, water bottle pops, and the place just
streaking down the ice too. He was wheeling.
Yeah. He was moving. Like, it wasn't like it wasn't
like the shootout tonight.
No, he was
trickling in there.
Yeah, he was going about full speed, and in one motion goes forehand, backhand. Theodore's jock gone, and then top shelf, and it's awesome. But
it's
the
not like
shootout,
that anymore, though.
no, you don't see that anymore. Like Datsuk was a master at the shootout,
Yes,
and
he was.
you just don't like there's no reason, guy. Like it's just so much go down, shoot the puck, go down, shoot the puck.
It makes me sick. I think that if it's gotten to the shootout at that point. Also, I hate I'll get to that in a second. I'm getting ahead of myself. It's like that's an area where I don't know what they teach them as far as the percentile, like where's the good places to shoot. It's almost like getting into like baseball, where it's like where's the strike zone for the shootout, coming in at certain angles, ripping it closer to the crease as opposed to far away. I just think it's one of those weird things where it's like just like. Sullivan is super stubborn about who he chooses for the shootout too. It's been almost the same lineup. God, it used to be Gensel who goes first, and now it's typically Raquel. And I get it; they're the leading goal scorer on your team, but like that doesn't always translate to the shootout. Like I thought Anthony Beauvillier, I had a good feeling when he went up because I've never seen him in the shootout. He's a crafty little French Canadian. That he's probably, it takes you back to when you were a kid, when you were creative out on a pond or out in your driveway or messing around with buddies on a sheet of ice. Like you need players that I like Kevin Hayes' approach where he goes in and he's, instead of having it on the forehand winding up, he goes in with it on the backhand, completely opposite, goes forehand, tries to go right back to the backhand. I don't know. I just think you mix it up. Like just take someone. I think Tomasino might be a guy that could be nasty at the shootout, but we'll never know because he's so creative with the puck. He's got dangles. He knows he can shimmy shake out there and he can, put together a few dangles before he lets one rip. I was hoping to see him get a shot. I don't know why they put a guy like Tanner Glass not Tanner Glass. Jesus.
Cody Glass.
It's been a long time since Tanner Glass was in the league.
Yeah. I don't think Tanner Glass ever took a shootout shot either.
You know what? That's a stat. I wonder if he has. And I bet you it was probably much like Cody Glass's where he just skates forward and just tries a regular old wrist shot. And it's like, dude, come on. Like
That's what used to make Letang so deadly at the shootout was that he had an entire bag of tricks. I remember the first, back when he started being a shooter, it was rare for a defenseman to take a shot. And they threw him in once against, this is back before they maybe even won a cup. And he went out there
and was just out of the OHL.
Yeah, he just completely juked somebody out of his shot. And you just did not see defensemen take shots. And he had an entire bag of tricks. He had a great backhand that just got goalies time and time again. And he doesn't do that anymore. Crosby, if he can time it right, he can get that quick wrist shot through the 5-hole. But most goalies are cheating that way. And again, Crosby has a plethora of moves. There's a reason Kessel never really took many shootout shots because Kessel was a straight line, shoot the puck kind of guy. Yes, I'm surprised Raquel went first tonight because Raquel is more of a straight line, shoot puck kind of guy. Tomasino definitely reminds me of a guy that has hands that can make a goalie look bad. But this isn't just a Penguins problem. A lot of guys anymore just straight up skate forward, shoot the puck, hope you beat the goalie clean. And goalies are just too good.
Yeah, they are. And what you said about Sid, he plays the most patient game in the shootout now. He's not wily out there whatsoever anymore. Like when he was young, he's outweighting the goalie, waiting. He's almost to the the trapezoid by the time he releases it, hoping to get him to flinch on something. But it's just, it's become too calculated, and I think it's time to mix it up. Or God forbid, Sullivan, I know he would never listen to our podcast in 10,000 lifetimes, but Jesus, just for the hell of it, shake it up and get some of these younger guys. I would, who else might have a nasty shootout is Grizzlick. I could see Grizzlick being, he's a defenseman.
Have a little nasty shot there, yeah.
Or what about get that 6'7" Vinny Desjardins to do the old?
Oh my gosh!
You know what I haven't seen in a long time in a shootout is just the old skate right down Broadway and a full tickle the rafters slap shot.
Yeah, Tanner Glass never took a penalty shot or took a shootout shot in the NHL.
I'm not really surprised at all because that dude was he didn't have the softest hands.
Yeah, he was
in
not
fact,
exactly.
his hands were used for being anything but soft. So.
24 career goals. He played 527 games, had 69 career points.
How many penalty minutes did he have?
He had 658.
Oh, wow. Decent. Man. Anyways, yeah, the shootout, a little stale for me. It's also, like you said, I think it's because the Penguins have historically just stunk at it. Hell, let Boko and Mama take a shootout.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Better than just rolling out the same old lineup every single time. But yeah, as for the game, Robbie, that's all I really got on it as far as comments. I got my points across, I think. Pretty good game against the Devils. We could probably agree on overall, but just not the outcome. Of course, we were hoping. They do get a point. I was hoping for 2. I'm sure you were as well, and it's just, I don't know. I'm trying not to watch the scoreboard right now. I'm going to wait till the Four Nations face off to take a peek at the standings.
Yeah, but yeah, so the Penguins lose 3-2 in a shootout to the Devils. They are now 1-6-2 in their last 9 against the Devils, dating back to October of 22. So one of these days they will shed that monkey, but tonight was not it. As going forward, they are off Wednesday and Thursday, and then the final 2 games before the Four Nations vacation. Friday night, they are in the Big Apple for a showdown with the Rangers at Madison Square Garden, and then they will take the train down the coast to the in-city rival Turnpike battle in Philadelphia on Saturday night, and that will be the final game before the long break. So doubleheader this weekend, nothing until then. So we will probably do our standard doubleheader recap on Saturday night if everything works out right. So before I wrap this up, Snell, do you have anything that you want to say before we click stop record?
Do you think that there in any world someone gets in Sullivan's ear and wants them to bubble wrap Sidney Crosby before the Four Nations face off against the Flyers?
Tonight when he went down, I definitely thought like, oh man, yeah. I mean, Crosby's going to do everything he can to play in that tournament, regardless of what happened tonight. But definitely. I mean, Dubas is on that front office staff for Team Canada. So Dubas was probably walked back the hallway very calmly, and there might be a hole in the plaster somewhere back there. And then you just walk by him on his knees praying.
I was going to say you might find his trousers in a garbage can because he shat himself when that happened.
He just took his suit jacket off and threw it like off out of his box. Some fan walked home with a Kyle Dubas suit jacket tonight. But no, I don't. Again, Crosby's not going to sit on any Penguins games for the Four Nations, but there was definitely a brief panic set across the Great White North tonight when everybody read the tweet that Crosby went down the tunnel. But I'm sure there was a big exhale when he was back on the bench.
Well, yeah, you can always audibly hear it when Sid steps back onto the ice from coming back down the tunnel in PPG, especially. So I guess we'll cover the games that are coming up. Obviously, we're gonna have a little lull. We'll probably get to a mailbag down the road, but
we'll talk Four Nations.
We got to talk Four Nations. Like we got to cover. I'd be down to cover some of these games because I'll be watching. That's for sure.
Let's see if I can get a Four Nations schedule here.
Is Gino Malkin coming back and before the break, or do you think he's already in Florida?
He might be in Florida. So we have, they don't start until Wednesday, the 12th. So we're going to have some time. We'll do some mailbags. We'll do like a little preview of the Four Nations tournament, maybe do some game recaps there too, as well. So yeah, we'll find some stuff to talk about, and we'll make sure you guys have plenty of content during the break.
Yes, we will. What's the? We can get into it later. Anyways, Robbie, that's all I really got. Penguins lose by a score of, I guess, technically 3-2.
Yeah, 3-2 in a shootout. They're back in action on Friday and Saturday. we will be back in action then as well. So for Snail, I'm Robbie. We will talk to you guys this weekend.